Don't forget to check out the Hockey Podcast Network's newest affiliate, NHLShop.com. That's right, the official NHL merchandise page. Right now, they're giving 20% off orders over $25 with code NHLICE25. Also, if you use our link that we're going to tweet out after this episode, you can help support us and the other hosts at the Hockey Podcast Network.
This is the Hockey Podcast Network, your home for hockey talk on every team in the NHL.
Welcome to Offside by a Mile, the podcast for anything and everything Colorado Avalanche, and the official Avs podcast for the Hockey Podcast Network. Welcome to the June 1st episode of the Offside by a Mile podcast. Watch out. Not quite the day I was hoping for to be recording a podcast, not exactly the best things going on in the world at the moment.
Yeah, definitely not.
That being said, don't really want to ignore it. It's not at all where we should be, where our head should be at. For those in Denver, for those around the U.S., just please stay safe. Please, refrain from just breaking shit for fun. I'm not gonna argue whether or not people should be violently protesting this at all. This shit is fucked. Racism in 2020 should not be this. First of all, racism shouldn't be anything. It shouldn't even be a thing. But the fact that racism like this exists still in 2020 is bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely bonkers. Obviously, this is what happened in the last 2 weeks is the fucking absolute worst. Actually, it's not. I mean, there's been wars for fucking worse shit, but
definitely more escalated.
But
we've seen in a while.
In our world, 2 months ago, there was a Zoom call with a black hockey player that got hacked and taken over by a racist douchebag. I can't believe this is something we're talking about in 2020. I can't believe it. And it's fucking so stupid. That being said, the people that are piling on to this that have no attachment to it, that are just looting shit because they can, fuck you.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Fuck you that's it. That's all I got. I feel like this the tweet that I saw that really struck a nerve. Not a nerve, just really put this in perspective, was Vincent Goodwill. I think a lot of people have seen this tweet in the last few days. But 2 years ago, September 3rd, Vincent Goodwill tweeted, Colin Kaepernick's peaceful protest won't be fully appreciated until there's a protest that isn't so peaceful. Which Colin Kaepernick kneeled 2 years ago. It seems like it's longer, but it's not. But it's crazy that nothing's changed. But then Vincent Goodwill goes, see what I mean? And it's 100% true, right? And it's a case of, right, it's the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And Colin Kaepernick did this, Evander Kane, Akeem Alou, all that. There's been fucking oodles of opportunity for this to change peacefully. But nothing changed. And eventually the squeaky wheel or the squeaky bearing or whatever you want that needed the grease lit on fucking fire. And that's where we're at. Right? And it's you can say whether or not you think they should have gone violent, but eventually there's a straw that broke the camel's back, and this straw was pretty fucking big. I'm not going to say I speak for Jared or Brett. This is insane. I don't want to turn this into a political podcast. I do not. I want this to be a happy place, but I didn't think we could ignore it. I don't know. Anything you want to say, Jared?
Nope. Said it well.
Again, right? It's I hope anybody tuning into the podcast can come here for some enjoyment, some escape. I hope everybody in Denver, I hope wherever you're listening to, I hope you're staying safe. I hope this doesn't negatively affect you. I hope this changes the world to the better, to the max, like as much as it can.
Yeah, that's all you can hope for.
But for now, let's talk about the news that was hockey. Let's talk about some happier things. Let's talk about that I got a fucking haircut this week.
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing. Jared, not so much. Brett, though. Brett and me, we got fucking haircuts this week. And I think I lost 10 pounds. It is great. Oh, is it ever great.
There you go. Yeah.
Happiness, right? Happiness. Please, happiness. This show is a bit of a long one. Or it's going to be a bit of a long one. But it's a blast. We had a blast with the crew that are coming on, our guests for the episode. Not definitely not a crew that I expected to talk to this year, but very perfect timing considering the news that we got this week with Gary Bettman officially announcing the return to play plan for the NHL. That being said, not June 1st, not early June like we were hoping, not John Scott timeline.
Yeah.
Good effort though. I very good effort.
Yeah.
The fact that he came close to getting like the return to play plan timing, I'm not saying he was right. I think he was just spitballing.
Yeah, he was just being optimistic,
Right. But hey,
I like it.
It was close.
Yeah.
Got me excited.
All-star.
Yeah. The All-Star, John Scott.
The All-Star.
But yeah, Gary Bettman said that training camp will resume in the first half of July. Then a couple days later, I think Pierre LeBrun and some others tweeted out some news that it was probably not going to start until July 10th at the earliest, which that changes your first half of July into 5 days, I guess, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. So, that's basically a 1 week window, which I assume the first half of July thing is a little up in the air, obviously still at the moment. That's a month and a half away. But yeah, so it sounds like training camp, voluntarily good English, yeah. Voluntarily showing up for like training sessions in small groups can happen, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe in June 1st, like today.
Yeah.
But I think that's good news. I think you're definitely going to see some Avs start working out.
Yeah.
There was that Twitter video of the Lightning going back to playing hockey on their Sea-Doos like dicks.
Right. Yeah.
The only thing the Avs are going to have are like guys snowboarding, maybe. Snowboarding down a mountain, going into a hockey rink. But yeah, so like the teams are doing some funny stuff. The Montreal Canadiens had the TikTok, so you're telling me there's a chance, which was hilarious.
Yeah, super good.
If you haven't seen that, I think you can find it on their Twitter account if you don't have TikTok. If not, if you're on TikTok, go straight to their Montreal Canadian TikTok account. So good. I think the NHL tweeted it or whatever too.
I'm sure, yeah.
It's really good. It's also on the Habs website. It's funny. It's really, really well done. I loved it. But yeah, so I mean, hockey it's on the horizon, I guess. The tunnel.
At least there's news.
The light at the end of the tunnel is real small.
It's visible.
It's real small. John Shannon tweeted out on Thursday, I think, maybe Wednesday, that an optimistic start date of August 15th for actual games would put the NHL season at 79 days away. And hockey has been off for 77 days or something.
Yeah.
Which puts into perspective how much I hate John Shannon. Because, yes, he may be right. He may be right, but why did he have to tell me that?
You dick.
Brett shared that with us the other day, and it's just like, it really just like sucker punched me. Because it's like, oh my God, hockey in July.
Yeah, we're getting news here. It's going to be back soon.
And it's just like, well, actually, 3 weeks training camp, some of that stuff. It's like, maybe it's August. And it's like,
2.5 months.
Fuck. God, it's just, that was a sucker punch. That just was not fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, so across the quarantine this week, brought to you by Manscaped. The code THPN still up and running.
They got the giveaway. That's still going, right?
I
Till
believe,
the 7th
the
or
Cool
something?
Hockey giveaway is still going. Basically your last week to get your jersey and a chance to win a gift card for another jersey, basically. Go nuts. Get the Chuchi jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Get a Nathan MacKinnon jersey, maybe a Stadium Series jersey. Maybe
not.
kind of ugly. Actually, they might have other gear too. I haven't actually been on the site. I have refrained from buying jerseys lately because I'm not exactly working. So the income is not great enough to buy a hockey jersey at the moment. But if you're working and you want to spend some of your extra change, go to Cool Hockey, use the THPN code, maybe, Manscaped, whatever. But yeah, the Across the Quarantine guests this week are from the Montreal Canadian podcast of Habs Nightly, the official THPN podcast for the Montreal Canadiens. This was a blast. The boys from Habs Nightly are hilarious. It was a great chat. We talked about everything.
We go through a lot. It was a good
nuts.
time.
Cory and Mason,
Mm-hmm.
good guys for sure. If you want to check them out on Twitter, they're at Habs Nightly. Again, that's their podcast. They're everywhere. Same thing we are. Wherever you get your podcasts. Again, it's under the THPN feed too.
Mm-hmm.
So give them a check. Give them a listen, and maybe maybe the Habs are your second team if you're.
Never know.
If you're one of those people, kind of like me, with a West and an East team. But man, it was a good chat. So here you go.
Hello, you're listening to the Hockey Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Fleetwood, aka Bayou Benders, alongside Mason Dixon, and this is Habs Nightly. All right.
Nice.
And there's some blank air. That way you guys can move it around.
Yep.
All right, let's get back into it. All right, Mason, how you doing today, bud?
Good. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing fine. Just got off of work.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, fuck. Sorry, everything just kind of lagged out.
Okay.
I love it.
This
I
is
love
quite the conversation.
Okay. Yeah. Well, screw it. We'll just start there. Yeah. So we're joined with Tyler and Jared from Offside by a Mile. Happy to have you guys on, guys.
Hey, man. How's it going? Boys, I guess.
It's
Doing good,
going
man. How are
great.
y'all?
Good. Just chilling in a nice little thunder shower right now.
Yeah. Actually, just had a big thunder boomer right there. All right. Good. Dog's freaking out now. Nice. High quality content.
Right. Yeah, man. We
Quite.
who knows? It'll be a lot of live feed today.
That's very true. Quite good timing, I think, for you guys to have us on your show.
It's great.
There was definitely a lot of Montreal Canadian shout-outs in our last episode, being that, you are basically the 24th team in the playoffs here.
Oh yeah. I listened about an hour ago because I wanted to hear what you guys said last episode. And,
Nice.
a lot of chirping about how we shouldn't be in the playoffs.
Well, I mean,
Can you disagree though?
yeah, like
Oh,
what's
no, you're
the
totally
argument there?
Nice.
Because I don't know if there is one.
I don't want to be in the playoffs. I want Lafreniere. Leave me out.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
don't.
That's kind of the issue that we kind of brought up, and like it's hard for the NHL. Nothing's going to be perfect. None of the potential scenarios to get back to playing hockey was going to be perfect. It was going to piss people off regardless. But when you watch a team like Chicago and Montreal that are legitimately trading away players for futures at the deadline, and then they still have a chance to play in the playoffs, it's just like it's really, really hard to wrap your head around it.
Oh, and I think for both teams too, they're uniquely qualified to, for lack of a better term, upset and just piss teams off with Price and Kane and Taves.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, like if you're
There's
the
opportunity
if
there.
you're the Oilers and you're staring down Chicago, you're like,
Ooh.
for fuck's sakes.
Captain Serious over there, you never know.
I don't know if
I heard the best statement about the Oilers situation this week. I think it was on Overdrive from Toronto Radio. They said, of course the Oilers are in it, not only for the Stanley Cup, but for first overall.
Yeah, that's classic.
Fuck yeah. That's hilarious.
So perfect, right? It's so perfect that the Oilers have a chance at first overall right now. It's so amazing.
I mean,
Well, yeah.
dude, it's just insane. Like for us personally, like I remember when there was the proposal of 24 teams, and it didn't even like phase me like that. We were like could be the 24th team. I'm like, oh, that's cool, just more hockey. And I guess for you guys, it was more of like, oh shit, we might get to see our team, run in the playoffs. For us, I'm not thinking that way. I'm just like, whatever, like I'm just looking at drafts. I'm just ready to watch, if we get,
I'm sure,
postseason
I'm sure you
hockey
guys
back.
feel like the 25th team.
I wish we were the 25th team.
Right,
like
yeah.
last year, we could have been the 24th team. We kind of wasn't making all these moves. I felt like we had a better shot, and now it's like I get the news and I'm like just puzzled. I'm not excited, and I'm not like angry. I'm just like we did all this to get our picks in order to make a future run, and we are getting the chance we should have got last year, but we're not anywhere near that same team.
The funny part to me, because of the way the NHL has done the draft lottery setup, the chance of first, second, or third overall going to a team that's in this play-in round is so high, just based on percentage, right? Because like Ottawa has the best chance to win the first overall pick because they have the 2 picks, right? I think they're 25.5% or something. The bottom 8 teams have a 24.5% chance of getting one of those 3 picks, or the first pick, and then subsequent second and third, right? And then on top of that, then you have any team that loses, then they're in their own lottery if that so happens, which is ridiculous, right? But that means that if the Habs do lose, then you got a 12.5% chance at one of those picks if they're ended up won by the play-in round teams. And it's just like, that might almost be better odds. Like, it's not actually better odds, but the fact that like you're gonna know before the play-in round's over if one of those play-in round teams is gonna have one of those picks, and then you have a 12.5% shot at getting that if you lose.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's in a weird kind of way, it's almost better odds.
It's actually not though, technically, because technically Montreal would have a 6% chance
For sure.
and now they have a 3% chance, which is.
But they don't. Well, like they do, but the thing is you're gonna know
if they win.
You're gonna know
or
that
if they lose.
you're gonna know if that pick is there, and if you know that pick's there, then you have a 12.5% shot at that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's just a weird circumstance. It's weird. It's so NHL to have 2 draft lotteries.
Yeah, it's odd to me.
crazy.
It just seems like why even do it now? Then, like, what's the point? But what do you guys
to
think
please
about that?
teams like Detroit that have nothing else to hope for right now?
Oh, jeez.
I think the whole scenario, like the whole season's weird. So I think it makes sense that the lottery's weird. And
Fair.
I don't know if you guys ever look at the score, but the score did playoff predictions. They had Chicago as their favorite to beat the Oilers. Like this mess.
Oh man, Alberta is gonna implode if the Oilers lose the first round or the play-in round.
We're
I guess.
never gonna hear the end of it. We're never gonna hear the end of it.
And it's gonna be
The
amazing.
NHL fucked the Oilers again.
I work with an Oilers fan. That is just like insane. And just so happened that we were at that Flames Oilers game that Kachuk and
Dude,
Cassian
what a
had
game
the
to be
gong
at.
show. Yeah, so I was at the game with my set of friends, and then this guy I worked with was at the game with his set of friends. And man, did the chirps fly during that.
Oh, jeez.
So if this does happen and Chicago does upset the Oilers, I'm going to have the best time at work. The best time.
Except if the Flames lose too. Might happen.
But
But still, it's
still better. It's
still to hold that over the
it-
Oilers fans.
Chicago beat them.
I feel like when you have a shared area like that, Alberta's got both. I feel like it doesn't matter if your team loses. It's almost a fact that your fucking team lost and you guys fucking suck, and it doesn't matter that we lost. It's like you'll always find a reason to rib on them. It's like
100%.
Saints fans in Atlanta, like that 28-3 shit from 5 years ago. Like there's still banners, and every year they put a billboard up
People
for it.
got
Like they live
tattoos.
for that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, like I know my dad has always said ever since I was a kid. Only thing better than a Habs win is a Leafs or a Bruins loss, and I think that's what you're kind of saying there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
sounds about right.
You guys don't know this, but our fans do. I'm a diehard Leafs fan at heart, so I definitely know the feels because the Habs and the Bruins are my teams for that for sure.
Right.
You've got to be feeling some sort of way about the Leafs in this playoffs too, eh?
Yeah. It's definitely not confidence, that's for sure.
Who's it? Oh yeah, it's Columbus.
Columbus.
Right?
Like I think I mentioned it last week. I think it's so amazingly Toronto that they get put against Columbus in the play-in round, who last year destroyed the Lightning, and then most likely if they do win that series, it's Boston.
Yeah. It's no easy road for them, dude.
It's so Leafs. It's so Leafs.
It's just
dude.
yeah. If you want to get far in the playoffs, you probably have to beat Boston. Good
Weird.
luck with that.
Yeah.
We all know how that's gone in the past.
Why does the Atlantic have to be so good sometimes?
Oh man.
Yeah.
But at least it's not the Metro, to be honest. The Metro is it's so good that there's no real favorite.
I think it's going to be interesting to see, like, especially with what Las Vegas does in terms of like ranking the teams who's more likely to win, odds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see. I almost feel like I put more money on the underdogs in this because they've got nothing to really lose. They've got everything to play for. A team like Chicago or Montreal, they're playing with house money right now, and a team like you said, Toronto or Colorado, teams that were in it anyway, you know, they've got a lot of pressure on them now to beat teams that they're expected to beat.
Definitely.
At least with Colorado, we know we're in the playoffs.
Yeah, you know we're in the playoffs. You know you're in that round
that's-
robin, and
That's the awkward thing, though, is like we talked about that on the last episode. Is just that the fact that we probably never would have fallen below second in like this Western Conference at this point, whereas now we have a chance to be in fourth, which is super like awkward in a way, and it's whatever.
not ideal. It's also weird to me, I guess, in the same sort of fashion, like the Tampa Bay Lightning, how them and their NHLPA voted against this playoff format for that exact reason of, not really being guaranteed like the greatest opponent necessarily.
Yeah.
And then like Carolina in the same fashion, where Carolina votes no to this playoff format because now they have to play in the play-in round. It's, again, this playoff format wasn't going to please everyone. I'm very interested that it was those two teams that said no and not a team like Boston.
I'm actually surprised that it wasn't more teams,
Me too.
honestly. But it's probably just at this point, everyone's just like, well, I don't fucking care. Let's just play some hockey. And, I mean, at the same token, it must suck to be the bottom 7 because you literally aren't playing hockey now. And it's like, it's going to be a long off season for these guys. That is a long time.
But at the same time, if you're the like Red Wings or the LA Kings or
they folded it in
Ducks.
a long
Yeah,
fucking
like,
time ago.
I think they're
with their
much rather-
0.275% point percentage or whatever. Shit.
Did you guys see that Tampa Bay Lightning video of them on the Ski-Doos?
That was amazing.
Yeah, like the Mighty Ducks coming back.
Oh my god, that was
He's like, hey, Stamkos, Stammer. And he's just like, fucking puts away his like fucking millions of dollars. He's like,
saw
just
a
gets
tweet and it was
Gretzky.
just like, I think I see why people sign in Tampa Bay. Huh.
Yeah, really.
Weird. Yeah, but
yeah.
I'd assume players that have places like that all over North America are pretty okay with just not playing hockey at the moment. If you're one of those bottom 7 teams. It's
insane.
still weird to think about though. Like it's weird to think about part of the league's just not playing and it's not the playoffs technically.
Right. I mean, I didn't expect it to come back, and as much as like I was excited for it to come back and like tried to stay hopeful, I was just like, dude, like, what if there's like a good chance it could come back, and then like the players would be like, no, like we've been out for too long, I'm just, we're doing family shit now. It is a fucking quarantine, like, I don't see us coming back, and then this shit happens, and I'm like, all right, I like sat in this weird like I don't kind of believe it yet, for like a good solid week and a half. And now it's fucking every day. It's just getting even weirder and weirder. Like where the fuck we're going to end up in this.
The world's going to end before we get hockey back. That's the way it feels right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think people realize too, like it feels like hockey's close to coming back, but there's still so many things we have to iron out too.
Well,
hockey is not coming back for a while.
That John Shannon tweet, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was on the 27th of May, so 4 days ago. At this point, it's been 77 days since the NHL went on pause. If the games return on August 15th, which seems believably optimistic, that'll be another 79 days before we see hockey. So now we're sitting at
it's like pretty much double.
We're sitting at 75 days from hockey if it starts on the 15th. Like that is so like that kicked me in the dick so hard. I was just like
still like 2.5
that's
months.
So far.
Cool.
Yeah, right.
Because the last 2.5 months have been excruciating.
Yeah, as content creators especially too. I know.
Dude. Feel ya.
Me and Corey have been grasping at straws a lot of the time to come up with content.
Like at least right now, it's kind of like you kind of have NHL awards to sort of talk about.
Yeah, which we did want to get
stuff.
into with you guys.
But like, that's gonna run out in 2 weeks. At the very longest, I think people will be bored about hearing about that.
And be like, Phase 2 news, Phase 3 news,
yeah,
Phase 4 news.
It's just, man, 75 days probably from hockey right now.
Well, it's funny you bring up the awards though too, because me and Corey were talking about it beforehand, and I'm sure you guys have seen our Slack. Sometimes there's a lot of debate between Makar.
Very much.
We just kind of want to get your opinion. Like, I'm on Team Makar. I think he's outperformed Quinn. But how do you guys feel about that? Like,
I mean,
it's good opinion.
Yeah. You're obviously on the right side of the argument.
You're on the right track here.
I can't say that Quinn Hughes doesn't deserve it. He's had a great season, but Cale Makar has just been a little better. Like, I just to me, it's kind of in a similar fashion as the MVP kind of conversation. Because the MVP is called most valuable player, it should be kind of, like when Taylor Hall won the Hart 3 years ago?
Yeah.
When he was just above and beyond the best player on that New Jersey Devils team, pushed them into the playoffs, all that, right? That's what a most valuable player means. A most outstanding player is Leon Draisaitl. Right? We can have that conversation about MacKinnon. I think Draisaitl deserves it. When you can be, I think, 11 points clear or 12 points clear of McDavid, it's pretty hard to argue you're not the best player in the league. But again, the best player in the league is most outstanding, not most valuable. And having Draisaitl and McDavid on a team, to me, if you want to talk value, that hurts your stats. But obviously it's not going to. That's not the way the MVP gets voted on for the NHL. It's just not. Taylor Hall was a rarity, for sure.
Yeah.
If we were going Taylor Hall season, it's MacKinnon. But to bring this back to Makar, I kind of feel it that way too, where it's a value thing. That's to me the value for Makar, like you could see it on the Avs roster. The Avs
absolutely
had injury upon injury upon injury this season, and with MacKinnon and Makar in the lineup, they were okay. But when Makar went down, they went down. And that same thing can be said with MacKinnon. But I think Makar, and yes, Quinn Hughes, this is not a shot at him either. He was that guy for Vancouver too. But I think Makar just did more.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with you. I think a lot of people try to separate the two players when, if you really look at it, they're both very similar.
Man.
They're both extremely elite skaters.
It's crazy to think that the Rookie of the Year is coming down to two defensemen.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, when is that even happening?
Aaron Ekblad won Rookie of the Year as a defenseman because he was a monster.
And there wasn't really anybody pressing too much with, like,
really.
a lot of points or, like, this other crazy forward or something.
And there isn't really a forward that's obviously gone nuts this year. But at the same time, you look at Makar and Quinn Hughes, and their stats are good too. Like it's not like they're 40-point rookie defensemen. No, they're solid rookies. Like
and playing like top minutes, playing top power play, both of them too, right? Which is huge. Like being that young and be able to quarterback that.
Yeah, they're both the best defensemen on their team. I think you can make the argument too.
Definitely.
Pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I don't think we have an argument really for a better defenseman on like a defenseman maybe, but like a player in that D slot.
Like an
I think,
overall, if you look at like, the EA Sports overall,
Yeah.
he's got the highest overall.
Yeah,
for
definitely,
sure,
100%.
on our team.
But yeah, like I'd be really sad if Makar doesn't get the Rookie of the Year. But at the same time, it's not an absolute joke if Quinn Hughes wins it. Like he definitely has a reason to win it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
If somebody else comes out of left field, then I'll be pissed and it's a joke.
Yeah.
Right? Like Quinn Hughes definitely isn't that.
No, and I think if Quinn Hughes wins it, he deserved it. I think any other year, like what was the stat? He's only the third ever defenseman to lead rookies in scoring.
Yeah,
Like it would have been Cale Makar if he wasn't injured.
exactly. That's
huge.
the other hard part to look at, right? Is if you look at straight numbers, then
11
Quinn
more
Hughes,
games played.
Yeah, but it's a games played number, right? And it's unfortunate.
Plus 12, minus 10.
Part of it for me too is just the way Makar came into the league in the playoffs last year, just outrageous.
And I think like that was my kind of rationality of why I think Cale is the better choice, is because you can't really add anything from the playoffs from last year, but at the same time it's like, this kid came in and made a dynastic change for this locker room. He came in and there was instant synergy, and he was able to produce and perform to Colorado's high level of offense. And I think that you'd be a fool if you don't think about what he did stepping on the ice in the playoffs and then continuing to do it this year. Like he's got a lot of big names on his team, and he's capable of having that leadership mentality, whether it's only 10% because he's got so much, he's got MacKinnon and Landeskog and Rantanen all around him. What he brings to the locker room is a lot different than Quinn Hughes, because he's surrounded by stars and is able to still shape his own path in this team and become one of the most important players to this franchise.
For sure.
Very well said, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, I go back to that, like when he did miss time, it was so noticeable. It's not like,
right.
And I can't say I've watched enough Quinn Hughes games, and I think Quinn Hughes is a hell of a hockey player. Like, again, it's no slight on him, but Cale Makar he creates so many of his points. There isn't very many secondary assists where he just got an assist. Right. And that's a usual time for a defenseman to get a point, right? Like you get a second assist as a defenseman. Normally you just touch the puck. You just happen to touch the puck and it just ended up in the net in a couple touches, right? That's not Cale Makar. That's also not Quinn Hughes. But
no.
Like in overtime, like I think Cale Makar's got 3 or 4 overtime winners this year.
Probably.
It's been a while. I don't necessarily remember anymore.
At least 2 or 3.
But it's just, man, like the dude he's such a difference maker 5-on-5. When it comes to overtime, it's just bonkers.
Yeah.
Well, even look at what he did with Ryan Graves too. Ryan Graves leads the league in plus minus, and I know that's not the best stat, but you're telling me that I think they were paired together all year. You guys correct me if I'm wrong.
A lot of the year for sure.
Most of it, yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Graves doesn't have that season without Cale Makar, and as a rookie to come in and elevate your D partner like that, I think that says a lot about him.
Yeah, exactly. And Ryan Graves just signed a deal too in the offseason, so that's like it's perfect timing for us as a team as well for him to kind of flourish. And that's the thing is I don't think a lot of people are crediting Makar with that. They're crediting Graves with having a nice, breakout season, all this stuff, but nobody's really looking at his partner, which is a shame, because as a defenseman, your partner is just as important as you.
Which, I feel like that goes both ways too, because I don't know if Cale Makar has as good a season without Graves too. Like Graves, they found a really good chemistry.
Yeah.
Like throughout the season, you could see it once they finally put Graves with Makar, because I think they had Makar kind of with Johnson at the start.
Yeah, and then he got hurt.
And then exactly, yeah. And then Johnson came back. They put Gerard with Johnson, and then Graves with Makar, and that's kind of when Makar, you could see him feel a little bit more freedom, I think, because Graves is a great skater as well and a really, really good passer. And you could see them complement each other quite well. So
Definitely wasn't a pairing I expected.
yeah, me neither.
Right, like I would have expected Makar and Johnson or Makar and Zadorov over Makar and Graves, but that's the thing, right? The chemistry is so important, especially as a D pair. It's huge, obviously, on the forward line too, with 3 guys on it. But man, just the amount of ice you got to cover as 2 guys is you have to have that chemistry. And yeah, like I think it's a fair thing to point out, like you said, with how well Makar helped. How well they helped each other, I guess I should say.
Yeah, because
Yeah, sure.
last year Graves was a shell of what he is.
He was
this
fine.
year, right?
He was fine, but he's good this year.
Yeah, real good. Yeah.
And then you guys are so spoiled for defensemen. Gotta say, like, as a team with some pretty good defensive prospects, looking over at the Avs, and you guys have Bowen Byram coming up soon. Like, it's ridiculous. That blue line in a few years, Cale, Bowen, Daniel Girard, I think is really underrated. I think
It's
he's
super good. Yeah.
It's not even like it's the prospects period.
Yeah,
that the
there's a
Avs
lot
spoiled
of
us.
promise.
It's
Sakic
ridiculous.
has done a job.
Like Martin Kaut started playing NHL games with the Avs because they were desperate, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this guy's an NHLer, sweet, right? And it's
yeah.
it's fingers crossed, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx anything, but like this is what started Chicago's run. Was just an outrageous pool of a pool of prospects, and just not being cap strapped by basically anything, right?
And good leadership.
Yeah.
So another award I want to touch on is the fact that I think Joe Sakic far and away wins GM of the year.
Oh,
I don't know if he's getting talked about,
I haven't even
enough.
thought about that, honestly.
but the moves he made at free agency last year, the way they handled the injuries this year, like that's Bednar and Sakic, but
the
like
Nemestikov trade, which seemingly was nothing, but was a
but
really
was
good
crucial
trade.
because Nemestikov ended up being a top 6 forward for like a 3rd round or 4th round pick. So like this year's trade deadline, I just, man, there is nothing to me that says Joe Sakic doesn't win GM of the year. But at the same
Yeah, and I
time,
think
like it's not really
people
splashy because he's not new, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the coach of the year stuff, right? Unless you're that team out of left field, you're generally
Right.
not winning the coach of the year. It's kind of the same as being GM of the year, right? The Avs are supposed to be good. Well,
But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like, yeah, the Avs are supposed to be good. Like we all kind of expect that from them now. But like this season, they've really been able to like they have torqued their overall play just enough in the positive direction that really just puts this season like way past the last 5. Like it has just been an absolute season. And
well, think
and
about
if you
think
ahead.
back to last year. What were the Avs?
Yeah.
McKinnon.
Trouble.
They were a 3-headed
McKinnon.
monster
Yeah,
with
McKinnon,
Landeskog, Rantanen, and
Rantanen.
McKinnon. What are they this year? Literally 4 lines.
like a whole team.
They played 35 different NHLers in games this year, and they were arguably
5 different goalies, I think.
they were in a fight for first in the West,
Yeah.
right? And it's just
And I
like,
think what's crazy is that most of the guys on this team are players that you would want on yours, and you could say that for a lot of teams. But to see what they've been capable of doing this year with Colorado, it makes everyone on this team look like they could be that big move for another team that puts them in a better direction.
Mhm.
I mean, Donskoy this season, like to watch San Jose crumble and to see that Jonas Donskoy's overall offensive potential did not go anywhere but up.
yeah.
He's had a better season this year than he ever had with San Jose. And
I was definitely, when they signed Donskoy, that was the one signing that I was like, that might be a little much. Nope.
He's like
dude, it broke my heart, because I do watch the Sharks and shit. But like at the same time, I was like, I follow Colorado. I think he's gonna fit the mold over there. And
The only
dude, I'm just happy that he moved. At least somebody moved from the sinking ship
the only gripe
and went to a successful team.
the only gripe I have with Donskoy is he loves to get destroyed.
Yeah, we talked about that quite a few
Oh
times.
my god, he gets trucked all the time.
Every game, it almost seemed like oh,
Just
there
a
goes
dummy
Donskoy
bag.
getting destroyed in the corner. Like
he Man,
Crazy.
he gets demolished.
I don't like.
Way too much.
Actually, yeah, he got hurt for a tiny bit.
That was
too,
that
didn't
the Rangers one,
Right. he? Lindgren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Kadri
Oh yeah, that was
fucked him up.
that was a bullshit hit. Right.
Yeah, Kadri fought him and knocked him out almost.
All right. But yeah, the thing about Donskoy is he's such like he's a little multi-tool, you know? Like he fit himself into so many different situations, which I didn't see him playing on the first line at any point when we got him, right? But he played on the first line for a little bit, like when we had Burakovsky.
And he was phenomenal.
He played well, yeah.
So
like,
many
fantasy options. The kid was like unreal when they put him on the first line. Like
Burakovsky's another move that Sakic made that you're like,
Mint.
when he was filling in for Rantanen on McKinnon's wing, he was a beast, absolute beast. And again, right? It's just so many of these moves that Sakic made. You're just like, he hit it. I don't know a move that he didn't hit.
I was just gonna say, I don't think there's either a signing or a trade that did not work out.
Which, if you look at across the waters here, that's not something that Montreal sees too often, right?
I mean, I think the reason I personally take a lot of interest in Colorado is because two teams that seem very different. Colorado has the one thing Montreal has been lacking for 25 plus years, and that's a superstar centerman. But the way I find Sakic and Bergevin are kind of similar in the way they're kind of wily. Like they make a lot of deals that people initially kind of turn their heads at or go, what did you do? Duchesne, especially with Sakic, right? But
God, that looks like a good trade. Oh man.
And then, but we're looking at, I'd say for Bergevin especially, PK Subban and Weber. Initially, that was horrible, awful trade. But looking back, how's PK doing in New Jersey, right?
Oh,
honestly, they made the right move there. And I remember when that happened, I'm like, what the fuck are they doing?
That was
Subban for like an older, like downhill Shea Weber, which I thought he was going downhill, but he's had some really good seasons.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like the what was it was this year, right, where he had like the 2-week stretch where he had the ankle injury, potentially career ending, and then all of a sudden he was back.
Yeah, he was just like, no, I'm back.
Just kidding. Actually, they put a new foot on me, and I'm good.
Right. Yeah. It's like I just woke up one morning and stretched really hard, and I actually popped the ligament back into place. I'm good.
Like, that was crazy. It was like, man, Shea Weber might be done forever. Like LTIR, here I come. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, actually, I'm playing on Friday. What?
And
he bolstered that fucking that Twitter guy who just said, he was like, yeah, I don't think so, bud. And like a week later was fucking playing.
Yeah, like just crazy, man. But yeah, like you're right. Bergevin, he definitely makes, and that's kind of what I thought was Sakic's moves this year too. Like at free agency in the summer, it was just like, and I've said this before, they seemed like very so moves, like whatever, like they're just depth guys. But it's exactly what the Avs needed. Bergevin does that too. Like Bergevin's the master of depth moves, especially at the deadline. Problem is, like you said, not having that number one center is a problem.
That's hard to trade for one, right?
Yeah, it's hard to draft for one. And Rasima Kotkaniemi, like it's his second year. I haven't given up. I still think he's going to be a great player. I think Suzuki might actually have a higher upside, but time will tell. It's hard to get that. McKinnons don't come around very often.
No, and even then, like McKinnon, like if you're worried about Kotkaniemi not being a star, McKinnon wasn't a star in his timeline either.
First 3 years.
Yeah, like McKinnon signed his deal. That's why he's such a valuable cap or salary right now or contract, is the fact that when he signed his second deal, he wasn't very good. Like I'm not saying he wasn't good, but he wasn't this. He wasn't MVP caliber. Kotkaniemi's got 5 years to catch up to McKinnon right now.
Yeah, exactly. And ever since McKinnon signed that deal, he's just gotten better.
Man,
and
he
better.
The switch flipped in his head, and all of a sudden he's been a superstar.
He's this is how I can be hockey.
Yeah,
and then just goes at it.
This is how I score. Oh,
he's crazy to watch. Like, man, like coming from not being honestly like a Colorado Avalanche fan, either of us, and then doing this podcast and really diving into this team. First of all, it's like huge fan now. This has been such a pleasure to watch.
No question.
But man, MacKinnon is just, he's such a beast, and like there's not many players out there like him. Like it's like him, McDavid. I don't really know who else compares to those two.
I think it's those two. I think they stand alone. I think they're the new Ovi Crosby duo. I think they're the faces of the league.
Yeah.
I think if Eichel wasn't in Buffalo, you might make the argument that Eichel might be there too. But
Eichel had an insane season too this year.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for him because he's always playing his ass off, and he's a fucking good player too. But that team is just a sore fucking looking pack of losers.
Speaking of our Slack and the Hockey Podcast Network Slack chat, the potential Eichel trade that was discussed about the Senators there the other day. Oh my
shame.
God!
What was it? Oh God!
It was like I don't. It was just like he basically said, "Pick heavy trade for Eichel from Buffalo to Ottawa," and it was just like they would never. No,
I don't even think there's a trade out there.
Like no.
No,
I think they've really pushed their team back a couple of years to make Eichel whatever he wanted, they gave him, and to move it and turn that into just even worse of a dumpster fire would just be. It'd have to be the most amazing pick in the world, like a Nathan MacKinnon has to come over and like a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
Oh, Eichel's not winning a cup in Buffalo, though. It's not.
You're probably right.
He'll be gone, and I'm sure you guys probably saw the comments he made recently about being frustrated. That's not a player who envisions himself there winning a Stanley Cup. I think he's.
Yeah,
done.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm sure
he's lost the heart to be there.
Yeah, I'm sure he's looking for an out whenever he can get it. Probably.
So speaking of a stud on a team that he may not win a cup with, Carey Price.
A gentle little segue in.
Sorry, I just hurt your feelings, but so I'm a goalie nerd, like to a T. Carey Price, by far and away my favorite goalie.
Yeah, he's your boy.
Been my favorite goalie for fucking years. When Halak was there, I was friends with a guy who was a huge Habs fan, and argued with me till the cows came home that Halak was a better goalie, and I told him to pound sand. This was when Halak was on his little run there before he got sent away.
Oh yeah, a lot of people were agreeing with him that Halak was.
We had arguments till the cows came home about how Carey Price was bad positionally, and I was like, "Are you high? You are insane!" Like I don't even know how to talk to you. Like he's unreal. Do you think the Canadians will ever be able to put a team around him? A, with the fact that he makes so much money, and B, the fact that, like you said, no first line center, and just there's so many missing pieces.
Corey, you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
But it's. I feel like like 6 seasons ago, my man got hurt and didn't come back till like he was registered to come back in January. I feel like that was our time to win it with Carey Price. The fact that we had Halak, the fact that was our tandem at one point blows my fucking mind that, we've made the trades we've done to end up where Carey Price is just, the lone samurai against fucking 300, like
basically, yeah.
This man can stand on his head all day. He needs the fucking help. I think, kind of like you guys said with the Avalanche, they just have a beautiful farm system. Like their future was bright, and it all worked out for them. I think that our future looks good. I think we have a really great depth as far as what we have in store for Montreal in the future.
The farm system you guys have developed in the last, I'd say 2 seasons, maybe 3, has just gone from like 0 to 60 in like no time.
Yeah, and that is our only hope because Carey Price.
How you do it, yeah.
Carey Price can definitely play. I don't care what age he is. I think he can have, a 16-game run, that you would need. But my problem is that, that his age is growing and we're not being able to put something around him I think that as a team, we're all proud to, to still have a Canadian team, but we're not proud at the fact that we can't get it together. You know, I don't think we have the pieces right, but hopefully he can withstand a couple of more seasons. I think our future can prove that Carey Price can be another big topic of discussion, as far as not just being like, well, he's the 24th pick in, therefore Carey Price could win them, you know, a round or a cup. You know, to have a team around him, I think that Carey Price would shine once again and wouldn't be talked down upon so much.
It's the scary part for me. Like, again, I love him to death. He deserves a cup by the time he retires, no question.
Oh yeah.
The scary part is, like you said, right, with the age creeping up, with the NHL going the way it is, it's almost a necessity to have a tandem.
Yep.
But how do you pay a tandem when
Carey Price is fucking just
$10.5 million, right?
Like, he's making as much as
right,
most tandems out
yeah,
there.
right. Like most teams have a tandem under like $8 million. Never mind 10.5. Never mind
10.5, and my man's got fucking panties in his fucking pocket. You know, like, dude's just fucking
break out
living.
the red panties.
I almost think that just to kind of go back and kind of answer that initial question too, if you look at NHL history, like goalies who have made big money, Pekka Rinne, Lundqvist, two of the greatest goalies the NHL's ever seen, never won anything. Rinne's not going to win a cup. Sorry, Rinne. Lundqvist isn't going to win a cup.
I don't want to hurt Rinne's feelings, but like, let's not put him in there. Like, he's good, but like, he's not Hank caliber. Like, the King is, he deserves. Yeah. He should have had a cup by now. No question.
And I think that what puts Montreal in a harder spot, and I'll let it go back to Mason, but it's because you're seeing the older age of Henrik Lundqvist, and then Montreal is like slowly turning to the next person over, and it's Carey Price, and you're just like, I don't want you to go down as, you know, Henrik Lundqvist being considered like the greatest, you know,
the greatest goalie to
Rangers goalie. You know, yeah, and a goalie did not have a cup, and it's just like, this guy needs one, you know.
Yeah.
So back to Mason, you know.
And Carey's, I think, like you said with the 10, I think he's part of a dying breed of the star goalie, the Martin Brodeur, the Patrick Waugh, who's going to play 65 games a year. That doesn't happen anymore.
I think that's out. I don't think that's ever going to happen again.
Yeah, and I think you see a goalie like Tuukka Rask, who was one of those star goalies, kind of step back. He's got that tandem with Halak now, and they're phenomenal. I don't think Price doing that. I think Carey Price has too much pride. He knows. I think Carey can still carry a team to the playoffs, carry them through the playoffs, but he's getting old. He's getting tired, and I think outside of Montreal, not a lot of fans know of Caden Primo as much. But like,
he looks
Carey's
really
time
good.
is coming. Yeah, his time in Montreal is ending, and it's coming off of Caden Primo's rise. And as much as I hate to see it, I don't. If outside of this year, because I think anything can happen this year. If Montreal doesn't win it this year, I don't envision Carey Price ever winning a Stanley Cup with Montreal.
And
it just won't happen.
It's funny that you say that, because honestly, like, they do have a chance. Like, even though it's an outside chance, you never know how teams are going to react coming off this huge layoff. Like, who knows? Maybe Carey Price is just juiced up. He's jacked up and ready to go, and he's just not going to let in any goals. And Montreal scores 2 goals a game and fucking wins the cup. You never know, right?
This is the thing that's I brought it up on our podcast a few times. The biggest wild card I find with the way the NHL is going to come back here is how are goalies going to get into the rhythm of things? Because especially as the Canadians, right? When you're looking at Pittsburgh versus Montreal, the question mark is, can Carey Price be the X factor? And the question is, how does he get there?
That's the only thing you ask.
Well,
like,
basically, yeah, right? Like, we talked about it, right? If you look at the 5-12 series, so that's Oilers and Chicago and Pittsburgh and Montreal. If you're putting money on a team, I'm putting money on Chicago. If I only have one choice between Chicago and Montreal, I feel like I put it on Chicago, just because I feel like Price is such a question mark on whether he can be Carey Price, right?
Yeah.
But man, if he is, it's no question can Carey Price beat Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the crazy part. And it's just like, if he can be in fine form with all this rest, if it's rest and not rust, he'll be a stud, right?
I think the one thing Montreal has going for it against Pittsburgh especially is hunger. And if you look at that team, Max Domi's never been in the playoffs. Say what you want about his season. He's shown that he can light it up, score 72 points. He's a hell of a player.
He's a big
Gallagher,
game player too.
Yeah, exactly. Gallagher, another guy who I think he's criminally underrated as a right.
Every single team in the league would love to have him on theirs.
Absolutely.
No question.
Another guy as a leader especially, I just think he's going to come out hard. And then you've got the veterans, Price and Weber, who they've been some of the best players. I think Price has been the best at their position for a lot of their career. And they've never won a cup. I think they're going to come out with hunger. And I think Price especially, if he decides that, you know what, I'm winning a Stanley Cup, I'm Carey Price, nothing can stop him, bar a Connor McDavid getting hot in the final or so. I just think Carey Price on his game is unstoppable in a 5-game series.
And I mean, they're going to be playing a lot. Price and Weber.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Weber's going to be putting up 30-plus minutes a fucking game. Let's be honest here. And especially in this, play-in, it's like, why the hell wouldn't you? And Carey Price is not going to not be playing.
Yeah, no.
So, I mean, I think a lot of it probably hangs on their shoulders.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's got to. And truthfully, I feel like of all the teams that are in it, and, and like how you're saying you would bet on Chicago and shit like that, it's like of all the teams playing, there's only like one true goalie that people are worried about, which would be Carey Price. As far as like, this is an iffy team, I don't know, but if there's one player on this team that can do it, it's their star goalie, who at any minute can turn on that X factor. And if anybody could do it, it would be him. That would do it by himself. He's not like the rest of these teams that are in it that kind of have that, that tandem. Like, this guy would have to legit, fucking put on a hero's costume and fucking just stand on his head. But of all the teams that you're looking at, that's the only team that you're like, if any team could really wake up as far as a goalie winning a fucking series, it's this fucking team that like everyone is like at odds. Like, no, they're not fucking winning it, because Pittsburgh has the fucking offense and their defense is still, pretty damn good. And their goalies have been back and forth pretty decent this fucking year. It's just, I think that Carey Price has people still shook.
And it's the question of, can Matt Murray be Matt Murray?
Right.
If playoff Matt Murray,
they don't
shows
fucking
up,
deserve Matt Murray though.
If playoff, oh man, hey, we can all say that about Montreal and deserving Carey Price as well.
That's true, but you know what? Fuck it. I'll stop right there. You're right. You're right.
You're right. Remember the Wah, the Carey Price Wah remake where you gave it to the fans because they were giving it. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember that was just yelling at the TV, going, "Did you not learn?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you not learn?"
Right.
Stop it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's just, again, it's gonna be this. That's why this playoffs is gonna be so weird. There's part of me that hopes everything goes normal. The upsets don't really happen. Like, Chicago doesn't win, Montreal doesn't win, just so like things can be semi-normal. Arizona loses, stuff like that. Just so like when we get to that 16-team playoff format that is normal, I hope it's relatively normal. I really just because I don't want to listen to all the bitching
Twitter
and whining
just fucking blowing up like
that we've already been listening to for the last like 3 or 4 weeks, basically.
I mean,
about the potential for this stuff to happen.
Sorry. I will say, though, you say you want the normal. I think it would be more normal if Chicago beat Edmonton. Edmonton choking is the normal.
Agreed.
Truth. 100% true, yeah.
Man, I think it's going to happen. Right when we saw these playoff series, we're like, oh, yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Edmonton was gifted a dynasty, and they ruined it. And it still baffles me how they haven't made it past the second round with Connor McDavid yet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the gift that keeps giving.
It really
Especially living in Calgary, man.
Year in, year out.
Oh.
You can feel bad even, being a Flames fan. You're like, shit, we've had some rough seasons, but it could be worse.
It's really too bad that the Flames haven't piled on and been good, like really good during this whole saga. Because like if they could have been like in a cup final or winning a cup
this year, you never know, right?
and the Oilers just being their, first overall pick selves. Oh my God.
Could you imagine? Like the Oilers lose to Chicago in the first round, and then like the Flames go on to even just win like a couple series after they beat Winnipeg. Oh man, the shit would be so off the fan.
Alberta will burn. From the north down.
We would have beat you in the season. Oh man, it's great.
Man, it's a good time.
It's fucking hysterical.
So anyway, I get what is your guys' confidence going into that series, the play-in round against Pittsburgh?
I'm petrified. Like,
I think I'm weirdly optimistic purely because of Price. I don't think I've seen Carey Price like as locked in as he was at the end of the season through meaningless games. The last few years near the end of the year, Carey would you could tell he was pissed off because he had no backup and he was playing close to 70 games a year. But I don't know. I feel like Pittsburgh is one of the closest things we've had to a dynasty in, I'd say, recent NHL years, like past the Chicago. They won 2 back-to-back. They are Sidney Crosby and Malkin, and the fact that they were scared of playing Price, that's what gives me optimism.
Yeah, fair. And I would, in my opinion, I would hand the dynasty crown to Pittsburgh because they've got the back-to-backs.
And plus, it's like every
they've
year.
They've both got 3 cups in this same kind of stretch, right?
And they're still going
back-to-back. Yeah, that too. Chicago's out.
Chicago's on the down. Like as Pittsburgh's just chilling still. So
until Crosby retires, they're fine.
I think for you guys too, for Montreal, like in a way, this is just a win-win. Like if you lose, whatever, you get your chance at the pick that you want. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit less than you initially thought. And then B, like if you guys beat Pittsburgh, you're in the fucking playoffs. Like you never know what can happen in the playoffs, and especially if you win a series. Like it's a 5-game series, but if you win this series against Pittsburgh, that's going to light a fire under your asses.
How many times have you heard the statement, you just got to get in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And again, right, how many teams have gone to a cup final on the back of a goalie? Every single Canadian one. Every single Canadian one in the last 20 years.
Well, yeah, Pittsburgh did it with Matt Murray.
Yeah.
The Kings, John Quick, what year was that?
Yeah, right. But
he won the Conn Smythe, right?
The Senators went to the cup final on the back of, that was an old one.
Lalime?
Was it Lalime?
I think it was Lalime.
The Oilers went on the back of Rolison. The Flames went on the back of Kiprusoff, right?
Yep.
Like,
I don't think any champion, like outside of a few, have had a bad goalie. I think they've always had an elite goalie.
At least.
Hold on. Anthony Niemi is not elite, and he won.
He played elite. Though.
He was okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give him the elite credit, man. That Chicago team was unreal.
Yeah, it's true.
I'd say it kind of feels like Chris Osgood when Chris Osgood was nuts in Detroit. Like, right, he just never got the credit.
I'll rephrase it though. How about hot?
Hot for sure.
Yeah.
But like when you look at Canadian teams that have went to the finals, every single time it's legitimately like it's a 2-month stretch of the best goalie in the league.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's there hasn't been a Canadian team go to the cup where you're like, oh man, these guys are the favorites. Nope. So I mean, it would be perfect for the Habs to go to the finals this year on the back of Carey Price. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. You never know.
It can happen.
But they will meet the Avs, and the Avs will win.
Destroy them.
That's the way it's going to
go. The Avs, actually, I just finished out my 2020 season on Chell, considering there's like nothing to fucking do right now. My job is like, I'm not even in my correct department. So I've been playing a lot, and the fucking Avalanche ended up winning it. They smoked Toronto. Toronto made it to the finals to get swept.
Oh, some Kadri versus
his ex.
It was super sick, and fucking the Conn Smythe went to what's his name? I'm blanking. Your goalie,
Grubauer.
Yeah, Grubauer. It was fucking insane.
Speaking, I guess you could say that about like the Avs too. that's kind of a question mark.
That's
for
the
us,
biggest
right?
question mark we've got is goaltending for sure.
And yeah, if Grubauer plays like even exceptionally well, like the Avs
I
are
mean,
a
he's
fucking scary
shown that
team.
he's really good in the playoffs. I mean, he had that one bad game, and then it went back to
Holtby.
back to Holtby. But I think that he gets a chance to play, if not the best scenario for him, for like it's like dipping your fucking toes into a pool is this playoffs compared to like the playoffs with him with Washington where they just kind of like your older brother like fucking pushed you in a pool.
Yeah, here you go. Sink or swim, kid.
Like,
Yeah.
like my man's just like, yeah, I've already had a taste of this before. I'm gonna fucking dip my foot in. My brother's not home to fucking do this. You know, like,
yeah.
I
for
think
sure.
he's gonna be a little bit more comfortable going
Yeah.
into it.
That's the
you
nice.
not-
That's definitely the nice part about being in the top four. The fact that you don't have meaningful games right off the bat.
Like as meaningful,
Right.
at least.
Well, I mean, they're not elimination games. Like they're
Yeah.
definitely not. Like it's relatively exhibition, and that's exactly why Tampa
Right.
Bay said no to this format.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, we probably don't have to take it seriously. We probably won't.
Can you not make the case for Frank Hughes though?
Oh, 100%.
That's what. Yeah.
But the fact of the matter, like
He's
we've had this argument, not necessarily on Twitter, but like there's Avs fans out there that were on Grubauer before he got injured, way before. Like this is Christmas time. Like, oh, Francouz is the number one guy. Like Grubauer is the number one guy. Francouz is riding hot. But again, right? Like if it's a case where Grubauer doesn't have it and you think Francouz does to start the playoffs, man, you have to go with him. You
then
have
you have
to.
the option.
Absolutely.
That's the nice thing is we have the option. And yeah, if Grubauer falters a little bit, fuck it, throw in Frankie. But yeah, it's his net to lose for sure.
Again, being the goalie guy, Francouz never, like, again, I've said this before too. When you look at practice, and obviously it's just practice,
Talk about practice.
but when you look at Francouz in practice, he doesn't look like he's an NHL goalie. He doesn't. He just it's clunky. It's just not. It's not Carey Price smooth. That's for sure. Like right, and like obviously Habs fans are spoiled with Carey Price.
Right.
He is as
Yeah.
smooth as you can get in the goalie position. Right. Francouz is the opposite. But man, he's shown that all he does is get the job done this year. That's it. That's all he does.
Yeah.
and just
all he
calm,
does.
calm as a fucking cucumbber, which you can similarities there
Right.
between Price, not
But,
with
like,
style, but calm.
The dude flips a switch between practice and games. And you're just like, all of a sudden it's just, like he's calm. Like he's not fantastic looking like Carey Price, but like he makes the saves. He's, aside from his one gaff a game, it seems, where he lets in a squeaker. But the moment he does that, he is
He locks it
unreal. Unreal.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's just Grubauer has I have more confidence in Grubauer, but the numbers for Francouz, man, off the charts this year.
They're
Yeah, you can't
insane.
argue them.
Yeah.
100%. If you have the choice and one of them's and Grubauer's not going, you got to try Francouz. You have to.
Well,
Yeah, I
and
think he's obviously proven it, So I mean, it wouldn't come from I don't know what to expect from this guy. This, like you said, like if he's got a clunky performance, like it don't matter as long as he gets the fucking job done. And this dude comes in like a fucking last minute plumber and fucking takes care of it. It is what it is.
Exactly. It's definitely not going to be that playoff scenario where your starter falters and you're like, man, I hope this works. It's going to be a legitimate like, okay, you
This
have to
could
Yeah,
save
just send him in. It's like fucking.
it's
just-
you have
just
to
bring
save
him
the
in.
ship, and I know you can do it. Kind of move, right? So
yeah, I guess my one thing too, I think that Frank Hughes has, is I believe, I might be wrong, he played in the playoffs in the KHL too.
yeah,
And he was guy there. So just that experience too, I think, especially in a scenario like this where it's just so weird. There's nothing you can compare this to. I think
Yeah.
either way, Colorado's going to be fine in net. I think if anything, it's a strength. I think it's not a weakness, just from my perspective. So I don't know. I think Avs are my favorite if I had to choose, and because of the tandem, because of MacKinnon, I don't know. I think there is confidence there.
they're definitely my favorite purely from the standpoint of the fact that they're healthy, and like they were this good without their whole roster.
Like significantly
The
less
the
players.
reason I can't say that their goaltending is a strength is when you look across the division, you have Ben Bishop and you have Jordan Binnington. And I would take either of those guys. And I don't want to be a dick, and I don't want to like hurt. I don't want to feel like or sound like I'm not confident in the two guys that we've got. But Ben Bishop and Jordan Binnington are just they're game breakers where I don't feel like Grubauer and Francouz are.
But yeah, that's I think that's the trade off is we have our game breakers are
Our skaters.
Makar, MacKinnon,
your offenses.
but yeah,
This team, kind of like I said 5 minutes ago, this team feels like the anti-Niemi Chicago Blackhawks, where the goaltender is fine, but the team is that good. Right?
Yeah.
You just need a goalie to be a little bit above average. That's
just
it.
the Dallas when they had what was it?
Turco?
Wasn't it? No, not Turco.
Turco's great.
Was
it was a couple years back when they first had their dual, their tandem.
Letting
in the goals. Yeah.
And so it was just like their goal was
Right.
average, but they were able to outscore the opponent. So, they were helping him. Guy had an average year, but the team overall offensively was above average.
We felt it firsthand this year against the Stars.
Fucking Bishop,
Ben
dude.
Bishop is a cheat code.
Oh,
You don't
man.
need to tell Habs fans about Ben Bishop.
Right.
When he's on it,
had
it's
him.
like, oh.
Right. So that's why I don't think the goaltending's a strength, just because of what we can see down the road, and it's scary. It's very looking at playing Dallas and St. Louis. It to me is like looking at trying to play Carey Price. It's just like, man, those goalies can literally just. But Jordan Binnington stole a cup almost, right? Like it's.
I always forget this one for some reason. It seems so far away now, just with all the things that have happened.
Definitely.
January 1st feels far away. Never mind the cup last year.
Right.
It's crazy. But yeah, so it's just I'm obviously biased, but yeah, I'd say the Avs are my favorite in the West too, for sure. That's not a hot take by any stretch by any of us here, but man, it with a healthy roster, man, the Avs are going to be so good.
You're absolutely right.
I think if you had to look at an NHL team right now and say that team is going to be the next dynasty, they're going to pick up after Pittsburgh, I think you'd have to say, you'd be crazy to not say the Avs.
We paid our debts here too.
Yeah,
We had some fucking shitty seasons.
You think Detroit?
Okay?
Detroit's bad. So are we.
Yeah. Detroit's going through their revolution right now. Fuck them. They had like 26 fucking playoff appearances in a row.
Again,
They can chill.
Again, right? Like to think that the Avs were Detroit bad and they had Nathan MacKinnon on that team.
Ugh.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Not just McKinnon, but Landeskog
That's
too,
him,
and
yeah.
Varlamov is no scrub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Right, so it's again, paid our dues for sure. But I mean, we definitely nailed it on the time to start talking about the Avalanche on the Hockey Podcast Network. We crushed it. That's for sure.
Couldn't have picked a better fucking season to start this off. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you got to feel bad for the Detroit boys.
Oh, I couldn't imagine
you
trying
know,
to do
I
that
do.
podcast.
I do, but they have figured out a way to make everything comical. Their podcast is one of the most interesting ones to listen to. It's you know what to expect, and you just have no idea what to expect on how they're going to deliver the same fucking news. You know, it's shit, but guess what? It's going to be 45 minutes of the most entertaining shit you've ever had.
I mean, you'd have to play it like that, man, to just get through it. And I mean, at least they don't have expectations.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're, oh, how are we sucking this year?
I can't believe we're awful.
How did this happen? No, it's just we fucking suck.
Yeah, I can attest to that, because it's just I felt that after 6 games in the beginning of the Nashville season, it went to absolute shit.
Yeah.
To the point to where I I can't believe I'm having another episode where I don't really have that many positives.
Right.
Other than it's just like I know our offensive potential is astronomical. We've seen it 2 years back, a year prior. I don't know what to say. I'm just at a loss. It's just we're just not playing great.
They had a really odd season for sure.
Yeah.
It's just like an awkwardly disabled season. I don't know.
Yeah, do you know why though? Do you know why it was bad?
Why?
Let me hear it.
Matt Duchene.
Oh yeah.
Pure and simple.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Dude, it's insane. He started and he was lights out and fucking I think it was who got hurt in the very beginning? I think Forsberg had gotten hurt, and then it was just like fucking everybody was just like, oh, I forgot I'm not like pretty elite, or if not, almost elite at playing the game.
Yeah.
Want to talk about a weird year though? Minnesota.
Yeah. Another super weird year. The Central was so interesting this year, gotta say.
Yep.
What a weird fucking division. Like
It's always interesting.
the Jets too was weird.
This is the thing, right? With if you bring this back to the playoff format, right? You look at the teams in the play-in round, and yes, Minnesota wasn't in the playoffs, but do they deserve to be shooting for a playoff spot? Hell yeah, they do. They had such a good run. The Jets, same thing, right? They were basically like tied for 8th, right? So obviously they deserve a shot. Arizona, they sucked, but they at least tried to do something. They traded for Taylor Hall, right?
Right.
You look at the East, Columbus being on the fringe. Like, would you have guessed that? Absolutely not. Right. So yeah, Minnesota, man, that run they had for the last month of the year. Jeez.
Yeah, they just came together, and then
I was so stoked to have some serious Avalanche Minnesota game, just barn
right.
burners.
Those are fun.
And
Those
then
are
just-
fun games to watch.
I think we still had 2 games against them, I think.
Yeah, and then our last game of the year was against St. Louis.
Yeah.
Oh, so many good, fantastic games that we're gonna have, but
I mean
not so much.
I mean, hopefully, because you guys would be set to play them if they were to beat out Vancouver, correct?
Most likely,
yeah.
if we finish.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you guys y'all are playing them in the Winter Classic. Now, that can be like, if you guys get a chance to play them, like you already had great games during the regular season, and if there's a chance that you guys get to play them in the playoffs, like that is just going to feed this like a really strong, up and coming rivalry. And, with this
games.
epicenter of outdoor hockey being next year in both of y'all's court, like this is awesome.
7 games against the Wild would do wonders for that rivalry.
Definitely.
God.
You could see it in I think they played twice only, right?
Twice, but if you want to go back to weirder stuff, the preseason games they played against each other.
Fucking
were
crazy. There's
probably
fights.
the best exhibition games
Really?
I've ever watched.
The one had like
get to
3
watch any
fights
of
or
them.
something.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was probably the best exhibition games I've
going
ever
on?
watched. It was ridiculous. Like if you want to go that far back, it was crazy. It was funny too because Isha, the host of the Minnesota Wild Pod, one of our bosses, all that good jazz. He decided to open his mouth and start chirping, and then the Minnesota Wild started the season off real strong. And we got to turn that back around real fast. It was good.
I almost want Minnesota to beat the Canucks just so that he's torn.
That's
I
true.
think that'd be
Yeah,
hilarious.
right.
Coming from
that
Canucks,
is
like,
you're right.
diehard
That is
Canucks
a
fan.
legit
That's going to be a
hard one.
hard series
I
to
never
watch
thought
for
about
him.
that. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's going to be a struggle for him.
Oh man, he was quick to bounce back the other day. I had jumped on with Dylan and them on what is that, Stick Hungary, and
Nice.
I'm thinking I'm gonna be just a fucking like a bug in the back, just hanging out listening in. These motherfuckers hit me with a hot take. I'm like fucking 6 beers in. It's the fucking weekend, and here I am. And they're like, perfect. Montreal's in here. Let's talk about fucking Carey Price versus Pittsburgh. And I'm like, I'm not interested. I don't have anything intelligent to say right now. But when we get onto they get onto the topic about, this is a really awesome one. It's very different to watch, as far as watching Minnesota and Vancouver play, it's going to be a really good series.
That is.
Everybody went Vancouver, and my boy Isha went fucking nuts. Like, as soon as he saw it, he just went straight to Twitter. He's like, how do you guys not believe they have a chance at this? And I was like, he starts throwing them facts, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Okay,
just like sticking up for Minnesota, like being like, how are you sleeping on this fucking team? And I'm just like, shit, I guess I didn't watch them that much this year, but I guess you got a point, dude. You know?
It's kind of like the Columbus factor, right? Where beginning of the year or even like November-ish, right? 100%. If you told me Vancouver versus Minnesota, first of all, I would have been surprised by Vancouver. But second of all, like, yeah, I expected Minnesota to be bad. I expected Columbus to be bad. But they just have proved people wrong all year, right? And absolutely, Minnesota's got a chance to beat Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
Markstrom was a stud this year. He was hurt. He has now had 4 months off of hockey. Is he going to be a stud when he comes back?
Who knows?
If he's not, Minnesota is poised to beat them, no problem.
And same goes for Doobie, right? It's like he had a struggle of a year,
Right.
but we know that he's a fucking good goalie. And never know, time off. His wife's healthy again, I think. So, like, he went through some shit this year. Like, not even on the ice, but also off the ice. So it's like he could come back strong, and he's a good goalie too. And that team was playing so well, and just like a very solid unit. Not just like, you know, certain players were playing well, everybody was playing well. So they got some clout. I think, you know, they're gonna be a scary team if they get on a roll.
I think a big factor in that series too, against Vancouver, is I don't know if I trust Pettersson's ability to stay healthy through a 7-game series like that. That's going to be tough.
People love to target him too. So
he's
Vancouver's been bitching about that all year. Like, where's the hacking calls? But man, you're a star player. You're going to get hit.
And like, if you look at the Minnesota Wild roster, who do you do that to? Like, who do you take away, and all of a sudden they're not good?
Yeah.
No, but if you take away Pettersson, and it doesn't take much because Kotkaniemi is one of the skinniest guys on the ice, and he took him out last year. Like, there's some big boys on that Minnesota roster, and I think Pettersson better keep his head up.
Plus, don't forget the X factor and the fact that it's Mikko Koivu's last run.
True that.
Oh yeah,
right. So
very possibly.
It's crazy.
I just you look at those intangibles, and they always seem to rear their head when it comes to playoff time, right?
Yeah,
so,
I think especially this scenario.
That's a tough series to put money on. That's for sure.
Yeah, it could go either way.
If Minnesota's all of a sudden November Minnesota, then it's a short series.
Could be 3-0 van. Yeah,
right. But at the same time, if Markstrom's not Vezina caliber Markstrom, then that's a short series the other way, right?
Yeah.
It's man, please hockey, like, can we just fast forward to when there is real time hockey?
Right. I hate that we get to talk about it, and it's just like, it's literally like dangling in front of your fingers, and you just can't reach it.
Hypothetical
75 days away.
Hypothetical shit for the last 3 months. Like, this shit's gonna drive me fucking insane. When hockey finally comes back on, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. I'm gonna be holy shit, it's
sensory
happening.
Overload.
Yeah,
I mean, it's loading up like Windows 95. Like, you're getting just another line, you know, every week, and it's just like just load the fucking page, like, please. You know, it is dial up speed right now, and we're as someone who grew up with the last end of it, you know, it's just like, I am so fucking over it. Like, give it to me, just, you know.
Please
give me the game. Like,
get off the phone.
Right? Is anybody fucking with the security of this fucking connection? Please get off. Like,
yeah. Well, we fucking just went at it for like an hour, and
it's like 45 or an hour and 15 almost. Jesus.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a blast.
Fuck.
Yeah, boy, this has been a good one. You know, I love that. Even though in the midst of like nothing to talk about, except for, you know, now we have a little something to talk about. These episodes have been like, you start off and you're like, man, this could definitely be a tough episode. I just don't know what to talk about. And then I found that we've been getting on with people, and it's just been one of the, each episode, I'm like, that's one of the funnest episodes I've had of just pure conversation.
We seem every week before we get here to record, it's like, man, this could be one of our shorter episodes ever. And then it's like, it's an hour.
Yeah, this might be like 35 minutes. Nah.
I think we've put out more hour-long episodes since hockey's ended than we were doing before.
Just
For sure.
You just go off on these tangents, and it's like
this could honestly, this could low key be like a good thing for the whole network, because just everybody's gonna be better at creating their own content, right?
some real good networking
Absolutely.
going on.
And that too, and like talking
Right.
to everyone.
It's been fun.
Like, not to be a dick, but like I wasn't gonna talk to the Habs this year just because it's just like, why would the Avalanche fan base want to talk to the Habs?
Yeah.
But
We
man,
play twice a year.
an hour and
They
15
were
minutes
blowout.
later, I think everybody's been entertained.
Right.
Have you not been entertained? Yeah, fuck yeah. That was a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've very much enjoyed myself. You guys are fucking a blast to talk to.
Yeah, you guys too. That was great.
So thanks for having us on your show, guys, and being on ours.
No doubt. No doubt. Shit, Mason. I guess if you want, we can wrap it up right there. Do a little close and outro. Boys, is there any like last things you want to say? Like maybe where some of the folks can listen in. It's definitely with nothing going on. There's other great podcasts out there, and this is definitely one of them to check out. So where can the folks find y'all?
Thanks. Yeah, we're on Twitter at Offside by a Mile. You can find us there, and then of course, check out the rest of the Hockey Podcast Network, as you guys probably are telling your audience all the time anyway.
You can also watch the video of the podcast on YouTube.
Check out the YouTube. We've slowly been adding in every episode
I
here.
believe we're on Stadium Scene now too, right?
Yeah, I guess, the stadium scene there too. Stadium Scene TV as well.
And soon the merch line will be up too.
Yeah, we have a logo brewing here. Finally getting
Nice.
an
Us
actual
as well.
logo going. Nice.
Yeah, we finally got ours.
Fuck yeah. So
By the way, great name.
Thank you.
I never got to mention it. When I first saw that name, I laughed. That was
we were
Fuck
sitting
yeah.
here. Jared and Brett got
motivated, inspired.
on a herb of sorts, and we were sitting here just like trying to come up with a name.
Creativity.
And Jared, I think, spewed out Avside by a Mile, trying to be like punny, and I was like, "Oh my god, Offside by a Mile,
To
Matthew
Shane.
Shane, holy shit, so good,
Yeah. It worked out
so-
really well, yeah.
so good."
Boys, it's been an absolute fucking pleasure though. Man,
us
it's
too.
been really great talking to you guys.
Hell yeah.
We will definitely be chatting again, no question.
Hey, you never know. Maybe we meet up in those
Yeah.
Stanley Cup Finals.
Stanley
you never
Cup
know.
Finals, here we come.
You never know. Carey Price, get it done, boy.
But you could
we'll
like
definitely find out.
he could like tail off in the finals.
Yeah,
if you wouldn't mind.
Where's Kreider at? Can we pick him up or something?
Right.
Oof.
Right.
Ooh, that's a low blow, Jared. Anyway,
Literally.
thanks for having us, boys.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks to the boys from Habs Nightly. What a blast. Thanks for
Yeah, that was
tuning
good.
in to the Offside by Mob podcast for sure this week. We'll be back sooner than later. But yeah, so again, hope everybody stays safe. Enjoy what you can, and we will catch you next week. The biggest thing you can do to support us is by going to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and giving us a 5-star rating. Also, if you're looking to donate to the network, visit the Hockey Podcast Network's Patreon page. All donations go straight to the podcast host. Thanks, and see you next episode.
You're listening to the Hockey Podcast Network on Twitter at HockeyPodNet. New episodes every Monday and Thursday. Download at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.